Hello and welcome to episode 1 of the Coach's Corner. My name is Evan O'Neill and I am joined alongside Assumption Track and Field head coach Stacie Wentz. Coach, welcome and thank you for taking the time to talk with us.
You're welcome.
Coach Wentz is the head coach for 6 sports here on Assumption's campus for both the men's and women's sides of the cross-country teams and the indoor and outdoor track teams. She's a very busy woman. Now, before we recap the trip down to Myrtle Beach during spring break, we'll talk about 3 standout athletes who were recognized by the Northeast 10 Conference for their performances during the Coach O Coastal Carolina Invitational. Sophomores Antonia Pagliuca and Loris Tavares were named as the Female and Male Athletes of the Week, respectively, while freshman Abby Jones, who impressed many during the indoor season, was named as the Rookie of the Week for her efforts at the Invitational. Coach, you have to be impressed by how these 3 athletes performed.
Yeah, they had some really great performances last weekend. We pushed them really hard in practice because, let's face it, we were able to practice in 70-degree weather every day, and sun was shining, and it's something that we don't see, in the beginning of March here in New England. So it was a great opportunity for working really hard. So we didn't go in with a whole lot of expectations, but they certainly came out, broke some big school records. Loris Tavares, who we call LT, was able to break a 42-year-old triple jump record. Can he go farther? Yeah, absolutely. And Abby's going to do better in long jump and high jump. And they were, she had some great performances. And then Antonia Pagliuca, she's ranked 8th in the country with that 10K. First time ever running the event. So I'm super happy for her. She kind of got beat right at the end, and she was a little frustrated with that, but, take a step back and realize that she learned a lot in that race. But, hey, to be ranked 8th in the country so far this season in an event that she's never done, we'll take it.
And now we shift our focus to the Coach O Coastal Carolina Invitational as a whole for both teams. It was the first meet of the outdoor season for the Greyhounds. Talk to us briefly about how you felt about your team's performance.
Overall, the team's performance between the men and the women were great. I mean, we were the first team to really compete in New England down south. And I think that's going to give us a big jump in our competition. And that's going to carry us out for postseason later in early May, middle of May. And so it was a great opportunity for us to work really, really hard and do some things that we normally can't do at this time of year. So we had kids beat up and athletes beat up at that meet, and we also had some athletes do an event maybe on Friday that they don't normally do, and then have to come back the next day and try to race really hard, and they performed great. Right. There were a lot of surprises, and we were really happy as a coaching staff about what they were able to do there, and it was just a great thing for our program, and something that we're really investigating, being able to do this now every year, because we got so much out of it.
Definitely. And the weather had to be nice.
It was awesome.
Had to be beautiful.
I can't complain. I'm still tan.
So as we recap the women's team performance, 4 school records were set by Pagliuca, freshman Greta Scott, and Jones, as we mentioned earlier. Jones finished in the top 10 3 times. I mean, that's impressive in itself. She picked up 2 victories in the long jump and high jump. So talk about Abby Jones, she finishes top 10 in 3 different events.
Yeah. And
long jump and high jump, she did a great job.
She's doing well. And she's really, she is a true multi-athlete. She is definitely a kid that can excel in when we get to an event called the heptathlon later in the season. We put all those events together. She's going to be great. And she's starting to really improve in distance. Or not say distance events, saying sprinting events, which she normally doesn't do and hasn't had a whole lot of experience in. And she's improving greatly. That she's also going to be a big help on our relays. So she's turning into a pretty impressive athlete. So we're really excited about her future and such. So, yeah.
Definitely, yeah. And Greta Scott, she had a great season on the indoor.
She had a great season indoor. Was this her best event? No. We'll be honest here. This was not Greta's best event, but I think it's a good showing of what she's capable of doing. She's going to have to get used to being able to do 4 events a day. She's going to have to do 4x1, 4x4, at least the 200, 400, maybe even the 100. So, and that would be 5 events. So it was a good taste of what college track is like and how different it is from high school. But I think she got a true test, and she's going to take this experience and be able to carry it as we get further into the outdoor season.
Definitely.
For sure.
And in the steeplechase, you had junior Rachel Avard, who's also the co-captain of the cross-country team this fall.
Yep.
She finished second in the 3,000 meters. Sophomore Elizabeth Sullivan finished second in the 1,500, followed by her teammate freshman Charlotte Allen, who came in third. I mean, that was impressive.
Yeah, that middle distance crew is just, they're rolling. They're working really, really hard. It's really exciting to see their improvement from where they've been, even from the beginning of season and cross-country seasons, of what they're doing for an outdoor event. Rachel Avard, that steeplechase is her event. It is tough. She is the toughest kid on the team compared to even any of our sprinters or jumpers. She is the toughest kid. She had ankle surgery this summer, and coming back and jumping into a pit of water that's at an incline on that leg. And so she is tough as nails. That is the second fastest time she has ever run. And the fact that she did it the first meet of the season is pretty scary. And I hope that bodes well for her and for big team points when it comes to our conference and New England championship scores. Definitely. I mean, she's definitely looking to score and score big, and really kick that school record, out of the water for sure. And then Elizabeth Sullivan, I mean, that was an 18-second PR. That in a 1,500 is mind-boggling. And that just goes to show you, when you follow what the coaches say, and do every workout we ask you and every pace with no complaints, and you work hard in the weight room, you may struggle your freshman year, but by second year, you're going to drop some big time, and she just proved that. And, I'm really looking forward for another 3 years with that kid.
Yeah, definitely. And preaching the process is a huge
Charlotte
thing.
now loves the 1,500, so we'll take that as a plus.
Definitely. Now, on the men's side, 2 school records were set by Tavares LT. And in the triple jump and in the 4x800 relay, I mean, obviously, he's not in the 4x800 relay, but still, 2 different records set by 2 different teams. You're not just having one person set records, which is great. Yeah,
I mean, LT definitely in the triple jump was huge for him. It was nice for him to get that record. He's got a teammate that they've been battling back and forth all season. So when we get Eddie Frazier back, it'll be a very interesting battle. And each week, I expect them to keep breaking that record and breaking that. He had a really good jump in long jump. Unfortunately, he was over just a little bit on the runway, and so it was fouled, but it's definitely a 22+ jump. So if he can keep his head on straight and stay positive after each event, that kid's going to go really far. 4x8, I'll give him credit. It's a school record, but that record needed to be broken. It was pretty bad, and they all know it, and they knew that they could do it. What was even more impressive, though, is a couple of those guys had run 1,500s or an 800 before that race, and so they came back 2-3 hours later and really crushed that record and actually made it a record that we can be proud of. But it's definitely a record that we will continue to keep dropping that time too.
Definitely. In 42 years, like you said, you got to break that record. That's something
exactly.
You got to get rid of.
Exactly.
So the relay team, as we just talked about earlier, consisted of sophomores Ian Flanagan and Jeremy Alley Tartar, along with freshmen Andrew Mongiat and Daniel McDermott. Not sure if I got Andrew's last name correctly. It's a tough one.
Mongiat, but that's okay. You were close.
I try. But last but not least, for the throwers, sophomore Alex Serbo finished 7th in the hammer throw with an impressive 152 feet, 5 inches on that throw. I mean, that's... Whew, I can't throw it that far.
6-foot PR for speed of the season. We'll take it. He's doing 3 spins, hammer. He's a better shot guy. He'll say that he's better at shot, but hammer, he's coming. He's making a good effort out of it, and so he's getting really close to that school record. And that's obviously a goal of his, is to really finally get his name in the record books in the outdoor, in some of the outdoor records. And like I said, I think he'll get there. As long as he starts being consistent, and he's definitely working really, really hard, and he's one of the hardest working kids on this team and really wants it and wants to be, not only recognized in New England, but also be a national contender here in the next couple of years. And if he keeps working hard, he'll eventually get there.
Yep. And with that, we'll wrap up this episode of the Coach's Corner with Stacie Wentz. Assumption will travel this Saturday to Bridgewater State University to compete at the Bears Invitational. Coach Wentz, as always, it is a pleasure talking with you about your program. So thank you. That's going to do it for us. Along with Stacie Wentz, I'm Evan O'Neill. Tune in next week for when we recap the Bears Invitational, and visit AssumptionGreyhounds.com for all of the latest information on Assumption College athletics. Thank you.